Should someone have to have a government-issued license to drive a car?
Hell no.
What's next? Requiring a license to make toast in your own damn toaster?
Oh man, no driver's licenses in the libertarian paradise, because the natural progression is a license to toast, because, you know, you can also kill pedestrians with flying rye bread. And then Gary Johnson tries to step in and be somewhat sane. Don't do it, Gary.
You know, I'd like to see some competency exhibited by people before they drive.
Ooh, driver's licenses, having an iota of regulation and operating a deadly 3,000-pound speeding object. One more.
At the state level, I would support some legislation that would stop children from being allowed to purchase drugs and prosecute anyone who would put a child in danger, because I do believe that children do need some protection. Yes, you should not be able to sell heroin to a 5-year-old.
Babies on heroin, a libertarian utopia. Full disclosure, this is from the 2016 Libertarian debate, but I saw the clips on Twitter today and I just couldn't help myself. I wanted to talk about this ideology and its dangers as well as its connections to the mainstream Republican thought. What's crazy though is that drug possession decriminalization, like how it's done in Portugal, is actually a good idea in my opinion, as are some of the kernels of freedom that libertarianism espouses. In 2001, Portugal became the first country to decriminalize the possession and consumption of all illicit substances. The results were phenomenal. In Portugal in 2000, there were 104.2 new cases of HIV per million. In 2015, 4.2 cases per million, and drug use in general dropped dramatically, as did overdose deaths and incarceration rates. Sounds like a major libertarian success, right? Absolute freedom and no drug laws means better outcomes? Not really, because lack of laws or regulation is not what spurred the success. Under the 2001 decriminalization law, drug dealers are still sent to prison, but anyone caught with less than a 10-day supply of any drug, including heroin, gets mandatory medical treatment. No judge, no courtroom, no jail. So it's not the lack of freedom or lack of laws that have spurned the success, it's the way those laws were written. And it's the government investment into those well-written laws that do the trick, and that's just one example of it. Unfettered, unshackled lawlessness is not the answer, because that model disproportionately benefits one group, the wealthy, and that is by design. Take Ayn Rand, one of the founding thinkers in modern libertarian thought, and her philosophy as an example. The core of Rand's philosophy is that unfettered self-interest is good and altruism is destructive. That's literally the manifestation of greed is good. Freedom is a wonderful thing, but what libertarians are promoting is not freedom, it's chaos. It's actually tyranny. What libertarians don't understand is that having little taxes and no real rules are actually taxes and rules in themselves. Libertarians think that they worship freedom, but no, they just hate government. They love rules. The rules of capitalism. So what's deeply sad about the libertarian ideology is that they think that they are revolutionaries who are attempting to overthrow an unjust tyrannical government by embracing the tyrannical elements of capitalism, which they think is freedom. In fact, it's actually just feudalism and you guys are suckers. And what's kind of pitiful to me is that these people think they're different from the Republican Party. Sure, you may not be co-opted by puritanical restrictions and guilt about sex and drugs, but everything else is the same. You're indoctrinated by the constraints and religion of capitalism, but you're just less aware of it. Returning to the Portugal example, that is freedom. That is justice. That is taking government resources and funding programs that will further the ideals of society, and that's taking a holistic view of the world, and not just worshiping at the altar of capitalism while convincing yourself it's freedom.